Hey everybody, Boneful here. So what I have here is the Columbia 300 Pulse. It came out of August of 2025, not to be mistaken with the original one that came out in 1996, which was one of Columbia 300's top balls that they ever made, very popular ball. I believe they remade a Pearl version in 2000 or 2001, and then August 2025, they remade the Pulse with a new cover stock and all the new technology for today's game. So since Columbia 300's been discontinued as of a couple months ago, all their balls have been highly discounted. This is the only one that is not highly discounted. So I think they figured this ball is going to sell out pretty quick. Although when you go into online retailers, there's still quite a bit of these left. This was not on my radar when it first came out. I just didn't think it was going to be a good ball for my style. But once the brand was retired, gimme, gimme, gimme. I wanted it. So I'm going to read the numbers on here as I put the specs right up on the screen for you. So I've got the 15 pound, 3 ounces. The cover stock is HK22 Hyperflex. The ball finish is 500 and 1500 grit Sierre. The RG is 2.46 and the diff is 0.045. So it's a symmetrical ball. Right now, these are selling for about $145. I think the retail price was around $159 if I'm not mistaken. So the price hasn't really dropped down too much. You can find them for anywhere from $139 to $149. And so they're still available. They're not completely sold out. We're drilling this ball strong based on Brunswick's website and the drilling instructions for a strong symmetrical. So you can see it's not exactly all red. It's red up on here, but down here you kind of have that swirl, which is pretty cool looking actually. And all we have is the dot along with our CG. So pretty much draw a line directly through the middle of the CG. And not that it matters, but we'll just do 55 for the first number, the drilling angle, and we'll go 4. One and 3/4 up, which means we go down 1 3/4, and across 4 5/8. This is my pap, obviously, so yours will most likely be different than mine. It's always a good idea to check your pap every now and then. I've checked my pap, and it's pretty much the exact same since I started. All right, we'll go 2 1/8 each side. All right, there we go. So pretty similar to all my other layouts, and the pin goes pretty much almost directly over the ring finger. All right, once again, we are using my version 3.0 jig. We've got our XY measurements already in there for the ring finger. We're going to use our 31/32 alignment rod that I also sell along with the jig. We'll bring this down close to the ball, lock it in place. Take it out. So one thing you can do too, which I like to do every now and then, maybe every couple months, is just check my measurements of my holes, right? So with my drill bits, since I'm only drilling for myself, my drill bits will last me forever. Now, if I was drilling at a pro shop or drilling a whole bunch of other people's balls, my drill bits would probably wear out pretty quick. So one thing I can do to just check to make sure my drill bits are going to be accurate and my press is working perfectly is check my measurement, right? So the 31/32 is in decimal form is 0.968. So with these, you can always test the depth as well too. The Jopo has a collar which automatically stops pretty much at 3.2 inches. And these are 2.1. So I usually drill these around 2 inches. I know some people or some PSOs, especially if you're old school, will cut your grips by half because technically your finger only fits in halfway. And they'll drill a 1-inch hole here, which I guess their way of thinking is it keeps most of the core material inside the ball. You're not drilling too much out of the ball. I've never really had any problem. I think that's just an old school way of doing it. I've only seen like 1 or 2 people do it that way. But we're going to drill 2 inches, and I'm pretty much going to not cut these down at all. I'm going to leave these the same length. So we'll take a rasp to this and just rasp it for about 30 seconds or so, roughen up the edges. A little bit of rubbing alcohol, clean up the inside of the holes real quick. Not a huge deal to do that. I mean, I forgot a couple times and my grips and Jopo have not fallen out, but it's a good habit to get into. Boom. We'll let that sit for about a minute or two. All right, so putting this in there is not necessary, but I believe it helps out, kind of pushes up against the inside of the Jopo there. But I've also done it without putting anything in there, and I've never had a Jopo come out. So it's up to you guys. All right, so we got 45. We're going to do white. Thought white looked pretty cool. All my friends voted on white as well. All right, draw a squiggly line over here. And the last thing we do is cut this down. All right, I have zeroed out my XY table. So pretty much all I do is I just pull this up a little bit. And I'm going to start on here where there's not too much of a lip and then come at an angle. Until you see it start taking it off there. All right, clean off the lines here. Test our Jopo. Boom. Good to go. Nice and flush. Looking pretty good. All right, there we go. One drilled up Columbia 300 Pulse. Kind of makes me sad. This is going to be one of my last Columbia 300 balls that I drill. I actually have a couple more coming, but Still kind of sad knowing that these are the last of the Columbia 300 balls. I think it's going to be very similar to the Piranha, the orange one. And it looks pretty cool with all the white right there too. So we're going to go down to Paddock Bowl and roll a few games with this thing and see what kind of scores we can put up with it. So I really didn't know what to think of this ball, to be honest with you. Like I said earlier in the video, this wasn't on my radar when it first came out just because I thought it wasn't going to be a very good shape for my style. And boy, was I wrong. This thing is really good. And I thought it would be a little bit too similar to the Piranha, the orange Piranha. And this one is ridiculously strong. It was sneaky strong. When I got it out, it came back almost every single time. So very surprised at the shape of this thing. I did not expect the shape of this at all. It does come with 500, 1500 grit right out of the box, which I thought was pretty impressive. This can definitely be used game one. So I used this ball post-league at Paddock. So the lanes were a little bit dry, so I had to make it work. I think I'm gonna bring this up to Nationals with me instead of the Piranha, or I may bring both. So I was a little concerned that this may be too close to the Piranha, and it's not at all. It actually has completely different shape than the Piranha. So it has a lower RG than the Piranha, and the diff on this, I think, is 0.045, while the Piranha is like a 0.043. So the numbers are very minimal. But this one also has HK22, where the Piranha does not. So I think that's the main difference, is the HK22, just for my style and for me personally, gives me a little bit stronger read, a little bit stronger ball. So out of all the brands out there, Columbia 300 is my brand. So it's definitely going to be missed by me. And that's one of the reasons why I went and bought every single Columbia 300 ball. So the only ball that I don't have that came out within the last year or two is a Super CUDA Hybrid. So I'll probably be getting that pretty soon, just to complete the collection of Columbia 300. So the scores I put up with this out of box are 238 and 212. My score started going down a little bit more just because I was trying to make this ball work for drier lane conditions, which it did not really jive with. It's meant for heavy oil, medium to heavy oil. So I also rolled a few games post-league at Clayton, and I put up a 212, a 215, and a 205. So pretty consistent scores, very good shape, trying some new things to try to get the ball to shape a little bit better in preparation for nationals, because I cannot do my up 10, huck it down the lane style when I go to nationals, especially on a sport pattern. It's gonna be very detrimental. I did some practicing, and I was going around 14.5 to 16 miles an hour. Most of my speed was around 15.5, sometimes 15, and I got the ball to shape quite a bit when I slowed it down. It came back and hit the pocket pretty much every single time. So hopefully slowing my speed down will help me out when we go to nationals. So with that said, I'm very pleased with this ball. I would highly recommend getting this ball. If you have the Piranha, you can get this ball too, because it shapes a lot differently than the Piranha. Both of the balls are really good. The Piranha and this one are very good in my opinion. So if you got this far in the video, appreciate it if you give me a like, comment down below, and let me know if you have this ball or you're gonna get this ball. There are still plenty of these available online as of the time this video will air. So they're around $145 average at most online places. I don't know if they're gonna go down in price. They may sell out before they get down in price. I think a lot of the online retailers got the remaining stock of these from Columbia 300. And so a lot of the online retailers have quite a bit left. So it's up to you. I know some of the weights sell out quickly, like 14 and 15. And there's a couple online retailers, the 15 is already out of stock. So you may want to pick it up. I would just pick it up if I were you, instead of waiting until it gets deep discount. Unless you use an off weight like a 12 or 13 or a 16, those will probably be around for a little bit longer. Also, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. So I do DIY drilling, I sell bowling ball jigs, alignment rods, and I pretty much do a review on every single ball that I get. So the future videos the next couple weeks will be Columbia 300 balls. So I pretty much went crazy and bought a lot of Columbia 300 balls, pretty much all the remaining that were in stock. I got all of them before they all sold out. Also too, if you notice the shirt I'm wearing, I also had a couple sample shirts that arrived yesterday. So this is my new logo, although I've got to get rid of the black square. So my future shirts won't have this black square. It'll look a little bit better. And I'll probably move this logo a little bit more in, so it's not so far towards the arm. But I got hats, I got shirts, and I got coffee mugs coming in. So all you guys that requested merch from me, they're coming in. I have to buy a few samples to make sure they're of quality before I sell them to you guys. So they should be available. Shirts will be available right away. Hats will be available as well too. And the mugs are gonna be here next week. And so once those come in and I see that they're of good quality, I'll be able to sell those to you guys. As far as pricing goes, email me at thebowlingfool@gmail.com for pricing on my merch. And other than that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking around. And let me know in the comments what Columbia 300 balls are your favorites and how many you have. Hopefully you guys out there have at least one Columbia 300, because if you don't, you're definitely missing out on a really good brand. And it's just unfortunate that they had to retire the brand. So with that said, thanks for watching, and I will see you all on the next video.